clear out many of these things. Looks like France and Venice have declared war on us already, but we'll ignore that for now. Scotland declared war on us too. Again, we'll ignore that for now. Okay, now February 1st has come and gone, and it looks like we have no free slots. And if you have the messages turned on, it will actually tell you what happened to your merchant. In our case, our merchant simply failed. He didn't manage to accomplish anything, and that has a chance of happening. But there are other issues, though, because of the way that it works. Oh wait, no, he's successful. Look at that, we have one merchant in. But you'll notice there's still 0 free slots. So what happened if there were no free slots and we somehow got a merchant in? Well, what happened was each merchant has a chance of either competing or gaining a new slot, and it just depends on what's going on. If you don't have a merchant, I believe a new feature is that you can actually automatically get a merchant in there at the same time. It used to be that what happened was some merchants would compete away people, some merchants would fill empty slots. I think that's been changed a little bit to be a little bit more friendly. But that does make it more competitive, as that means that the more merchants that are getting sent, the more competition there is. So this time we're going to turn up the priority to green. Now, turning it to anything at all will automatically send merchants when you have a merchant and the money to do it, and you're not already full up on merchants at the center of trade. The difference is that which one you select depends on your priority. So if I had Lubeck here at red, and I had Antwerp at yellow, what would happen is I would prioritize automatically sending my merchants to Antwerp instead of to Lubeck. But if I couldn't send them to Antwerp for some reason, then I would send them to Lubeck instead. And if you want, you can just set them all to the same value, and then the computer will decide for you what it wants you to do. So for now, we're just going to set Lubeck up really high and see what happens. As you can see, we've automatically had 4 merchants sent to us. So what'll happen when all 4 merchants get there on about the 8th of March? Okay. It's now the 10th of March. We're out of merchants, but that's okay. Now you can see that the share of the pie has gotten a little smaller. There are fewer countries trading than there were before. And the reason for that is that we are now filling up 3 slots with England. That means we have 3 merchants in place. So we sent 5 merchants over the course of this run, but we've only gotten actually 3 that were successful. Some of them failed, some of them probably were competed away. It just depends on what's going on. The higher up you are in the trade structure, the more likely your merchants are going to be the ones that get targeted by new merchants, because they want to compete with basically the most aggressive person. However, that may change a bit if you're one of the harder targets to dislodge. The way it works is your trade efficiency and various other factors determine what chance there is to compete the merchants away. So as you can see, if you have a good ruler, if you have certain national ideas like commerce ideas, if you're stable, if you're very trade efficient, if you have mercantilism versus free trade, and of course if the nation themselves have certain penalties, then it's easier to trade them away. And the merchants are somewhat smart. They'll usually try to compete with the easiest target, but sometimes they'll decide instead to compete with the toughest target because they want to dislodge it. Now, if we can get up to 5 merchants in the center of trade, that's pretty much as good as we can get. And this part over here will tell us when we have up to 5. Now, the issue with getting to 5 is you can't send any more until a certain point in the game when you have enough trade technology research to allow you to form monopolies. A monopoly is pretty much what it sounds. You're trying to control all the trade in the center of trade. What happens when you get to a monopoly is you have 6 merchants in place, and every merchant you send after that starts competing guys away. And instead of just filling their spot, since you have no more spots to fill, it just gets rid of them. Now what happens is, for every one that you get rid of, you get a larger slice of the pie. If you can somehow control it with a monopoly and get everybody else out, then you'll actually have an enormous amount of money. Now, as you can see, we've got 3 merchants, which is a pretty big share, yet we don't even make nearly the total value of the center of trade. That's because of our trade efficiency. which is located here. We have a 56% trade efficiency here in the income marker, and what that means is we get 56% of the money that we would normally be getting from this center of trade. So our actual value is a little higher than this. It's probably about twice this, so we're actually getting somewhere close to 40 or 50 out of 886. That's a large number. Of course, it's not all of it, but that's as good as we can get right now. Now, it should be noted that you can actually get over 100% in your trade or production efficiency, and that will allow you to get more money than you're actually theoretically supposed to be able to get. That's just kind of how it works. But you're normally not going to see that unless you're the only person trading. That's extremely unlikely to happen in Europe, but it may happen in the New World because you can only trade in the center of trade that you actually know about. So if somebody creates a center of trade in Mexico, then they can have a whole lot of money for a whole long time because all the Mexican provinces will be trading there, but only the country who actually established the colonies there and maybe some native neighbors actually know that the center of trade exists. Of course, eventually people will find it out, and since it's so valuable, they'll send their merchants there to compete. So it leads you to ask whether you should spread them out or whether you should concentrate. My advice would be generally to concentrate on one or two valuable centers of trade with people who aren't very mad at you. For instance, France has just declared war on me. So if I put too many merchants here, they're going to embargo me. And what an embargo means is my merchants can't trade anymore, so they're not making much money and they're going to be easy to compete away. I don't want that, so I'd rather go with people like Lubeck or maybe Spain or Russia, people who don't hate me too much, so that they'll let me keep trading. Of course, if you get too successful or you become too infamous, then even your trade partners may decide they don't want to trade with you anymore, and that's just a risk that they take diplomatically.